Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks. This is going to be a book related episode. I just did a craft related one and I kind of meant to stagger so that I wasn't doing them in the same week with the craft videos and the book videos, but that's just not how this turned out. So here we are doing a book video. So let's talk about the books that I have read since the last time we talked about books. I have them all written down here in my little kind of big book. This book just has, the title, the author, the genre, how many pages, when I started, when I finished, what I liked, what I rated it. I'm not going to go over ratings on with you guys, but for my own purposes, and whether or not I owned the book, because I mentioned that I am doing a challenge to myself where I read or listen to 100 books before I can buy anything new. So I've got all of that noted here. Now, I will start off by saying I have only done one book that I owned since the last time we talked. I really need to get on with my own stuff, but I keep getting distracted. Now, the last time I will talk about a couple of books that I got rid of as far as reading. I talked about two children's books that I was wandering around the library and I saw the covers and I thought, oh, I'm going to get those. They were by Alexandra Bracken and it was the Prosper Reading series. I started reading it and then I got distracted by so many other things that I had already planned and decided I want to get these ones done, and those ones I'm just going to have to put back and get another time. So even though I had already started them and I had put them on my book and I mentioned them to you guys, I'm not reading those right now. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is an audiobook that I bought off of Audible. And this is The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. And I wanted to read this because I had seen, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, the old black and white movie. I want to say from the 1940s, maybe. I thought it was so cute. I loved it. I don't like all old vintagey black and white kind of movies, but every now and then I find some that I really, really enjoy, and I really had a good time with this. What it is a widowed mother who is looking to buy a home for herself and her children, and she ends up in a house that is haunted by the previous owner. And it is listed as a romance. It is in its way, but it's definitely not your traditional. So it's, a haunting, but it's also a romance, but it's also funny. So this is by R.A. Dick, and it's not very long. It's a really, the actual book form, not the audio, is about 175 pages. So it was really quick to listen to, and it would have been really quick to read as well. I had such a good time with it. Very enjoyable. I don't know. It was just a really good palate cleanser in between other things. Other things being Attack on Titan. Now these are the horror manga that I decided that I wanted to go through the entire series. I'm borrowing them from my library. And so I did get, after I finished The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, I got volumes 3 and 4 of Attack on Titan. Read and finished both of those, and I'm still enjoying this crazy creature, humanoid giant thing eating human story. Very weird, very good. I can't really talk a whole lot about it because the way that mangas are, they're graphic novels, so it's mostly pictures. So there's not a whole lot of story in the 100 or so pages that are in the book. So it's really hard for me to say, well, this went on, this went on, and I don't know if any of you might ever want to read these. So I don't want to give anything away. It's still the same story. The youngish teenagers training to defeat these titans and defend their home, being they're the last humans left that didn't get devoured. But I did read volumes 3 and 4, still really enjoying it. This last one, volume 4, was more of a backstory on some of the characters and how they came to be in the service of the military, why they chose to go into the front lines and fight these titans. So it was really, really interesting. I had a good time with that one. The next one was an audio that I borrowed from my library on the Hoopla app. And this is Captain Vorpatrol's Alliance, which is part of the Miles Vorkosigan saga by Lois McMaster Bujold. We're getting very, very close to finishing this Vorkosigan saga. I think we've got maybe 3 or 4 stories left. A couple of them are full on books, and I think there's a couple of like novellas in between. So we're almost done with that. We've been going with this for over a year now, and I'm really enjoying it. They're really nice, light read science fiction. I really like how she writes her characters. Her dialogue is fun, and it's funny, kind of sarcastic in a lot of ways, and she just writes in a way it makes the whole story accessible. You don't feel like you're being just bombarded with all of this super sciencey science fiction stuff. And I enjoy that. It's this particular one is one of the side kind of characters. It focuses more on him. The main character, Miles, only shows up a little bit in this one. But this character has been by Miles' side. He's a cousin. He's been, in and out of the stories throughout the whole series. So this one focuses on him. It was really good. I had a lot of fun with it. He's gets himself into some shenanigans and ends up getting married. It's funny. I really enjoyed it. And again, not a book that I own. The only one that I did own was The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Let's see. Now, I have talked about a booktuber named Michael K. Vaughn. He's the one that I heard about the 100 book challenge from. I know he heard it from someone else, but that's where I got it from. And he's also doing he does a lot of things all at the same time. I don't know how he does. He reads really fast. I don't, but I decided to jump into this read along with him as well. And what it is he picked 11, because he started now in February. He didn't do it in January, but he picked 11 books that are on the public domain and you can get them off of Project Gutenberg for free. And so he picked out books that he wanted to read and then invited, if you want to join me, great. There you go. So I decided I was going to check some of these older books out. And the first one that we did now in February was The Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope. And I really enjoyed it. I kind of want, in my head, I want to place it as a fantasy, but it's kind of not. It's set in England, but the towns that they're talking about are fictional. But there are some historical things mentioned. It's very, I don't know what that is called, but it's kind of like a thriller as well. Very, very short. It's only about 140 pages. So what it is there's this prominent family. The brother is kind of like what is he? I can't remember his title. They have so many titles in England, but I can't remember. He's like the Lord of wherever they're at. And so he's the brother of the main character. Now the main character is redheaded, light complected, whereas everybody else, most of the people in their family, is dark haired. And it all goes back to this scandal generations back, that had to do with the king way back generations ago. The king, who their family is, they're called Elfbergs. That's their family name, and they're redheaded. And this family, the Rossendil family, they're dark haired. And every now and then, a redhead will pop up because way back when somebody did a little something that they weren't supposed to be doing, and it's kind of shameful in certain people's eyes. Now, the main character, his name is Rudolph. He doesn't care. He's like, whatever. It wasn't me that did it, I'm redheaded. Oh well. And but his sister-in-law, she's always, and he's kind of lazy. He doesn't, he lives off of the money, and he doesn't ever try to do anything with himself. And she's constantly trying to get him to get a job and make something of his name. And he's just like makes kind of half-hearted promises to her. Oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I'll meet so and so, and maybe I'll see if I want to work with him, and maybe they want to work with me. But he only kind of says it to please her and to kind of keep her quiet for a little while longer, and he never really plans on following through with any of these things. And it so happened that he was going out of town. He ended up running into some people who were hunting, and all of a sudden he's standing there in the forest staring at this man who could be his twin. It could be a mirror image of him, and turns out that's the king. So he's got this remarkable resemblance to the king, and the king's like, oh my goodness, wow, that's crazy. And they become these fast friends, and they're hanging out and getting drunk together. And the king is supposed to get crowned the next day. Well, everybody knows that the king's brother, whose name is Michael. So Michael has this, of course, he wants to be king. So everybody just is like, we can't let the king miss his coronation, because that will just be the open door for Michael to cause strife and chaos. And of course, the king is drunk. They can't wake him up. So they're like, all of the other guys that were with the king turn to Rudolph Rassendil and say, well, you look so much like him. Why don't you just shave your beard and put on his clothes and just go get crowned, pretend you're him. Nobody will ever know. And then when he wakes up, everything will be fine. And he is like, no, no, no. And then they kind of coerce him into it. So there he goes. And somehow, in the midst of him traveling to the kingdom, the king gets kidnapped. The hungover, passed out king that they hid away in a basement somewhere. Somehow somebody figured out where he was, kidnapped him. So now the rest of the story is all about this brother Michael, like shocked that the king has shown up for his coronation when he knows he's not, that he's kidnapped him. So it's just a really funny set of circumstances. And of course, there's a love interest, and there's sword play and all kinds of swashbuckling shenanigans. It's really, really fun. So I'm really excited to continue with these classic books on Project Gutenberg with Michael K. Vaughan and his podcast, because I'm having a lot of fun. And that's really all that I've read so far since the last time we talked. I have started a few other things. I started Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. And I'll talk about these other ones more the next time. But I also started A World of Curiosities by Louise Penny. I'm doing a historical slash biographical book based on the USS Indianapolis, and the sinking of that. The Time Machine is coming up, and I will be getting further along in the Attack on Titan series. So that's all I've got for now as far as books. I really enjoyed all of them. Let's see, I don't think there was none of them that I could say was a dud. I really enjoyed everything that I read. So that's that, and we will see you next time. Bye.